Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our magical Monday. Let this week be a beautiful beginning to yet another week of learning, evolving, discovering, and finding a lot more about ourselves. So, without further ado, let's start the morning state of programming, a power of dreams programming. Let's manifest our dreams. Let's give them power by seeing them coming true by some fluid movement. Super, fantastic. All right. So let's start the first book for this morning, which is Refuse to Choose. So, yesterday in this beautiful book, we realized that a lot of us are interested in many, many things, and we can't understand how to point out on one thing. But this book is not about that one thing. This book is about how each of us can use all our interests, all our hobbies, and do exactly what we're supposed to do. So we basically read what is a scanner. Today we'll read how exactly is a scanner and are we one. So let's start the part one. Today is all about scanners. Today is all about reading and understanding step by step. If anybody has any questions at any point, please feel free to let me know so that I can just confirm them, clarify them in the chat box or while in the session. All right. So all about scanners. Elaine has found a few hours for herself, a rare occurrence, and she's determined to do something she loves to do. Exactly what will she be still undecided, which is undecided. But it won't be hard to find because she loves to do so many things. She stands in front of a large table in her garage looking at two projects she has started but never finished. To her left are two straw baskets of brightly colored yarn, a tube of glue, and a package of construction paper. Looking at them almost makes her mouth water. She's always happy doing crafts and promised a scrapbook to a friend many, many months ago. She tries not to look at the shelves behind the table, where her clay rests inside a plastic bag next to some wooden tools. When she has more time, she will make that ceramic piece she thought of. Great idea she got while looking through some antique picture books a while back. But she wishes she could do it right now. So you see, two projects are already pending, right? She forces her eyes back on the table. In front of her, still in the paper bag from the store, are four books she bought months ago about the history of Poland. Also in the bag is a package of unopened audio cassettes and a device she bought that will allow her to record conversations on telephone. She wants to interview the older members of family, all of whom are immigrants from Poland. There hasn't been a moment to look in the books since she found them at the bookstore. They sit there like a tantalizing dessert, save for some time when she can relax and the chores are done. But some of her relatives are growing old. She really should call them soon. She wonders if she would make a phone call right now and at least set up some phone appointments with her family and just learn how to hook up telephone recording system. She misses her Aunt Jessie. But on the right, sitting on the floor in a tall, narrow box, leaning against the table, still in the box, it came in. It is the electric piano she got for her birthday 3 years ago, 3 months ago. She could set it up in 20 minutes if there was just a clear space for it in the house. Elaine knows the piano has to stay set up somewhere because it has to bring it out and put it away all the time. She'll never get around to it. But who has time to clear out a space when the whole house needs cleaning out? If only she were 5 people instead of just one, she'd do everything, all of it, right now, today. She looks with longing at the black and white drawing of the electric piano in the box and can almost hear the music. Her voice feels like it's starting to fill up the music with her fingers remembering the touch of the keys. Could she just open it right here in the garage and do a little before dinner? No. Elaine remembers that she promised her 8-year-old a costume from a party coming up in a few weeks, and she really should get started on that and leave all this for another day. In fact, she'd had to set it up the dining room table for 3 days, and the family has had to eat on trays in front of the TV set. Embarrassing, she'll do that right now. But she suddenly remembers that she had another wonderful idea today in the car on the way home from a meeting with the client. An idea about a way to bring in some income that would absolutely work and would cost very little to start. And Elaine feels a familiar sense of apprehension that if she doesn't do something about it right away, she'll forget it like the other good idea she keeps having. Every single thing she sees or thinks of sparkles with potential and pulls her attention. She wants to do them all, but she's totally stuck and ends up doing none of them. She might as well pick up in the cleaning and head for the market. She sighs and walks around the fresh air and remembers she wanted to go for a run today. A dog who has been lying on the floor nearby gets up to follow and wonders what's bothering her. She does. So does she. So Elaine doesn't have attention deficit disorder, ADD it's called. She checked it out with doctors long ago. And she knows that when she's involved in any project, she doesn't get distracted by irrelevant things. So what's stopping her? Why is she so indecisive? For that matter, why is she interested in so many things? Why is she such a great starter but never runs out of steam and leaves a trail of unfinished projects behind her? She doesn't blame her family, her friends for smiling unknowingly or unknowingly whenever she gets enthused about something new. She lets that roll off her back easily. But it bothers her that she almost never gets to see an end product. But how can anyone choose between so many interests? Which is the right one? Which is the most important? Another thought comes to her. She remembers that she's meant to polish up her Spanish because she might be able to teach part time next year and she can use income. Elaine shakes her head, almost resenting the new idea and feeling a hint of despair that there will be always something new and interesting moving on into her line of vision, even if she ignores them all and firmly chooses one project or another. Those new thoughts have the power to make her unsure of any choice she's made. Most of her acquaintances know exactly what they're doing with their lives. Why doesn't she just pick something and do it? After all, she's very smart and has been told she could do anything. Why can't she get going? So I don't know how many of you felt that you begin projects and they never get over and एक के बाद एक and लगता है कि ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है, and the new ideas keep rolling. If it's familiar to you, let's go ahead. Does this sound familiar? Does Elaine remind you of yourself? Do you also wonder why you're caught in this kind of dilemma? Are you unable to figure out what drives you and why you're so different from people who made their choices early and followed one path? Why can't you start working on your dreams and stick to them? How will you ever focus your curious mind on one path when you can't bear to turn your back on anything? What makes you tick? Believe it or not, there are very good answers to those questions. If, like so many scanners I have met, you think the situation is hopeless, you're in for some nice surprises. Here's the first and most important surprise. If scanners didn't think they should limit themselves to one field, 90% of the problems would cease to exist. What is a scanner? Scanners love to read and write, to fix and invent things, to design projects and businesses, to cook and sing, and to create the perfect dinner party. You'll notice I didn't use the word or because scanners don't love to do one thing or the other. They love them all. A scanner might be fascinated with learning how to play bridge or bouquet, but once she gets good at it, she might even never play it again. This one scanner I know proudly showed me a button she was wearing that said, I did that already. To scanners, the world is like a big candy store full of fascinating opportunities, and all they want is to reach out and stuff their pockets. It sounds wonderful, doesn't it? The problem is, scanners are starving in the candy store. They believe they're allowed to pursue only one path, but they want them all. If they force themselves to make a choice, they are forever discontented. But usually, scanners don't choose anything at all, and they don't feel good about it. As kids, most scanners had been having a great time. At school, no one objected to their many interests because every hour of every school student life is devoted to a different subject. But at home, in high school or soon after, everyone was willing to make a choice. That's when scanners ran into trouble. While some people happily narrowed down to one subject, scanners simply couldn't. The conventional wisdom was overwhelming and simply indisputable. If you're a jack of all trades, you'll always be a master of none. You'll become a dilettante, a dabbler, a superficial person, and you'll never have a decent career. Suddenly, a scanner who all through school might have been as enthusiastic learner, but now becomes a failure. But one thought won't leave my mind. If the world that had continued to accept them as they were, scanners wouldn't have had any problems. With the exception of learning project management techniques, the only thing scanner needed was to reject conventional wisdom that said they were doing something wrong and claim their true identity. Almost every case of low self esteem, shame, frustration, feelings of inadequacy, indecisiveness, and inability to get into action simply disappeared the moment they understood that they were scanners and stopped trying to be somebody else. It appears the scanners are an unusual breed of human being. One reason they don't recognize themselves is that they don't often meet people like themselves. How do you know if you're a scanner? Maybe it would be useful to first discuss who isn't one. So a lot of you will feel that there are similarities and it's happening. Is everyone a scanner or are people not scanners? So let's understand. कौन scanner नहीं होता, all right? Well, specialists aren't scanners, obviously. If you're someone who's happy being completely absorbed by one field, I've labeled you a diver. Some clear examples of divers are professional musicians, scientists, mathematicians, professional chess players, athletes, business owners, and financiers. These people may relax with a hobby, but they're rarely passionate about anything but their field. In fact, divers often wonder how people can be interested in anything but what they're interested in. Sometimes they even make fun of themselves for it, like the racing bicyclist Tim Krabby described in The Rider, who glances up from his gear to look at people walking and says, non racers, the emptiness of those lives shock me. By contrast, scanners rarely think what other people are doing is empty. They're always curious to know what's out there for them. And they love to poke their noses into just about anything. A diver rarely spends a moment wondering what he might be missing when he's totally absorbed in his field. On the other hand, 99% of scanners spend a lot of time scanning the horizon, thinking about the next move. So let's understand further. Many people look like scanners but aren't. People who continually move from one idea to another often have very different reasons for doing so. Some are simply trying to make up their minds, and when they find the right choice, they can give up all the other ideas they considered. Others move between ideas for reasons that surprised me when I first heard them. Here are some examples. I spent years frustrating myself and everyone around me with my constant jumping from one thing to another. What I learned about myself eventually is that I knew deep down that I should be doing all along, but was simply so scared to commit myself to it. The constant stream of alternative ideas was simply an advanced avoidance technique. I think I've always avoided what I really want to do because I was afraid I'd be mediocre or fully complete. So I'd keep changing my mind before I produced anything that could be judged. So people who are focused are definitely called divers in this new language of Barbara Sher. But people who are all the time jumping from one thing to another are ideally in a ballpark language called as scanners. Now, depressed people often make the mistake of believing they're scanners. Depression can create a fractured consciousness that doesn't allow one to pay attention to anything for long. And some depressed people believe that the cause of the depression is the inability to find something they can care about intensely. But the reverse is usually true. They don't care about anything because they are depressed. One of the main symptoms of depression is the inability to feel desire. A woman who had experience with depressed people told me the type of depression, the type of attention span problems that have to do with depression are quite different than job interest attention spans. When you get so disinterested in life, so can you turn the page, please? When you get so you can't read a book, and even newspaper articles are too complicated to remember from start to finish. You can't pay attention during a conversation, and you have no idea where your keys and your wallet and usually you know exactly where you put them. And you need to talk to somebody about therapy and medication because both of them work wonders. So please understand, there's a very thin line between being a scanner who doesn't know what to do and between a person who's depressed. A depressed person has no passion, no zeal, no zest. For them, the life is like done and there's nothing interesting in life. But for a scanner, everything is interesting. ये भी कर लो, ये भी कर लो, ये भी कर लो, but कुछ भी नहीं करो on the whole because you start everything and you can't complete anything because you again, too many ideas are going on. So the question is, अगर हम scanners हैं और हमें depression नहीं है, तो क्या हमें ADD है, attention deficit disorder है? Before knowing who they were, many scanners assumed that their problem might be attention deficit disorder, simply because everyone assumed that being interested in a lot of things was a form of distraction. In my experience, I found that many scanners actually do have ADD, but they are true scanners all the same. I've also met people with diagnosed ADD who appear to be scanners but are not. Once you understand that a bona fide scanner has no problem with the normal ability to focus as opposed to ADD high style hyperfocus, the confusion with ADD usually clears up. I'm a scanner and I've been diagnosed with ADD, and I can tell you that nothing is clearer than the difference between feeling stuck because I'm having an ADD attack. And that is my mind is in a fog and I have trouble remembering what I'm doing and being stuck for the typical scanner reasons of being attracted to so many things that I can't figure out which project to reach for next. Of course, there are many people who are quite content in their fields and have a few normal interests in life, such as lawyers who enjoy cooking and traveling, or an advertising art director who collects antiques. But there's a noticeable difference between someone with a normal range of interests and a scanner. So finally, okay, we may have ADD, we may not have ADD. We are scanners because we understand that, okay, I'm jumping from this to another. But even then, who is a scanner? Intense curiosity, intense curiosity about numerous unrelated subjects is one of the most basic characteristics of a scanner. Scanners are endlessly inquisitive. In fact, scanners often describe themselves as being hopelessly interested in everything. Although, as you'll find out, this isn't so. A scanner doesn't want to specialize in any of the things she loves because it means giving up all the rest. Some even think that being an expert would be limiting and boring. A society frowns on this apparent self indulgence. Of course, it's not self indulgence at all. It's the way scanners are designed, and there's nothing they can or should do about it. A scanner is curious because he's genetically programmed to explore everything that interests him. If you're a scanner, that's your nature. Ignore it, and you'll always be truthful, fretful, and dissatisfied. It's a whole new way of thinking. I know. And much of the world doesn't see scanners' behavior as admirable or even acceptable. But it wasn't this way. A recent change in fashion. Scanners are the victims of fashion change in history, and a recent one at that. Until the technology race with the Soviet Union of after World War II changed our views, the kind of people I now call scanners were admired. But by the mid 50s, a dramatic change had occurred. When Russia launched Sputnik, the first ever satellite to be launched into space, the US went into shock. Immediately, our resources were devoted to catching up and passing Russian technology, and everything else became secondary. University faculty turned into specialized training centers, science, technology. The realm of specialists reigned supreme. Departments of literature, humanities, even history were seen as irrelevant luxuries. And with that decline in respect came a radical change in the stature of scanners, no longer described as well rounded Renaissance people or erudite. Almost overnight, they were seen as irrelevant, silly, irresponsible. Now, regarding scanners, this change in thinking is complete. Almost everyone in a society takes it as a self evident truth, obvious, simple common sense that scanners are doing something wrong. Unfortunately, this has come to include scanners themselves. It's troubling to speculate on how much unnecessary unhappiness and wasted talent this ignorance of history has caused. That's why it's essential that you can never forget that for most of human history, a person with a wide range of knowledge and abilities was highly valued. As you'll see, the pendulum is swinging back. So, up kya, now what? Having the freedom to go after your dress is wonderful. But how on earth can you actually do it? The revelation that you're a scanner doesn't automatically propel you full speed on all things you love. You have to know how to manage a life that's full of different talents. One result of this 50-year-old disfavor with non specialists is that role models, Rahul sir, are you with us? Are rare. Unlike earlier times in history when multiple interests were more common, there's no one who can teach scanners how to follow so many interests. To be a scanner these days is like inheriting a fabulous shiny machine full of gears and buttons and gauges without an instruction booklet. How do you travel and become a photographer when you also want to learn Mandarin Chinese, study history, have a great garden, learn to write fiction, and try auto racing? It's not at all possible. It's not at all impossible, but you've never done it before. It certainly looks that way. And what about careers for scanners? Almost no one, at least all of a scanner himself, believes you can find a career without choosing one path and abandoning all others. That's a pure case of tunnel vision because scanners' jobs are everywhere. Innovative ways to learn a living that favors scanner personality and interesting jobs for people who always call themselves jack of all trades, master of none are showing up everywhere. The world is changing, and there's never been a better time to bring the multi talented scanner into the workforce. So, all around you, you might find people who are good at so many things, but probably mastering none, or maybe mastering something yet being interested everywhere. But now is a perfect time for the scanner people to elevate in their life. Why is now the perfect time? Because Until now, the manual had been missing. Thanks to Barbara Share, we have something concrete for scanning for people who are scanners to read evolve. But now there's a manual for scanners and you're holding it in your hands. You're going to learn how to do everything you want to do and keep a roof over your head at the same time. For that, you need to undo the problems that were created because you didn't understand you were a scanner. And you get a new understanding of why you're drawn to so many different things and why you leave them when you can do them. Clue. It's not because you can't focus, but because you can. You learn the particulars of your type of scanner and will dismantle the myth that has kept you afraid of commitments so you can actually enjoy making them. And if you're way too busy or even frozen in your tracks, you may seem to start your projects or you'll never seem to finish them. Help is on the way. I think you're going to like what you find new methods and procedures and tools and strategies for starting up your scanner engine. And all of them are easy, honest, interesting to reboot and boot. When you combine insight with every trick of the trade, you've got what you need to become a truly successful scanner with a light that matches your unusual and wonderful brain. So before we get started, all of us, it's an advice for all of us. I want you to learn to use the most important piece of equipment in your kit, something you'll be using in your upcoming chapters. I call it the scanner daybook. So all of us have journals, right? I'm sure एक journal होगी जो एकदम खाली होगी. You can use it exclusively for scanner daybook. Whether it's your that empty one, Abhipriti, or whichever you want to pick up a new one, do it. Or you want to divide your book into half and put your, bookmark and do it. You can do that. Scanners often avoid getting involved with a new fascinating subject when it catches the eye. They say things like, how can I justify wandering off in yet another direction? But that's a real shame because they're not breaking any laws or hurting anyone by being curious or enthusiastic by some new thought. And each time they push away an interesting new activity, they're reinforcing the myth that they are actually doing something wrong. Even a short detour to a frivolous activity would feel wrong. And so everything waits. As one unhappy scanner told me, I feel that if I haven't finished what I'm working on, I have no right to have fun. Of course, when you're a scanner, there is a risk of getting sidetracked and using up the time you need on your original project, but the daybook can solve that problem, as you'll see. Tomorrow, we'll talk about the power of the scanner daybook and what is a scanner daybook for. We'll understand that so that all of us can know that how is it different from a typical regular journal. And so yesterday, did you all do your journaling? Did you write those 7, 8 points in creative visualization? And did you write, who am I? Did you ask yourself the question, meditate and say, on whatever that came up? Because by now, we must analyze who are we as people. It's very important. And yesterday was Sunday. If you still haven't done it, homework करने से ही मालूम पड़ता है कि हम अपने आप से मिल रहे हैं. Yeah. Rahul said it's time for a Surya Namaskars. Please play the video so all of us can do a pranam. I'm so glad, Ritu, you've done that. And Richa, you've done that. Nice. Ruchi, you haven't done that? No problem. Aaj time nikal ke kar lijiye. Maybe Sunday you could find time. Do it today. Schedule it. What gets scheduled gets done.
The Surya Namaskar with mantras. Om Mitraye Namaha. Om Ravaye Namaha. Om Suryaye Namaha. Om Bhanave Namaha. Om Khagaye Namaha. Om Pushne Namaha. Om Hiranyagarbhaye Namaha. Om Marichaye Namaha. Om Adityay Namaha. Om Savitre Namaha. Om Arkay Namaha. Om Bhaskaraye Namaha. Salutations to the universal friend. Salutations to the resplendent sun. Salutations to the energy that induces activity within us. Salutations to the one who illumines. Salutations to the sun moving across the sky. Salutations to the giver of strength. Salutations to the golden cosmic self. Salutations to the Lord of the dawn. Salutations to the son of Aditi, the cosmic mother. Salutations to the benevolent mother. Salutations to the energy that we praise, and to the one who guides us to salvation. The sun salutation now with the names of the postures, both in Sanskrit and English. Pranamasana, Hastuttanasana, Padahastasana, left leg back, Ashvasanchalanasana, Parvatasana, and hold this position. And now slowly progressing into the deeper version of Parvatasana, Adho Mukh Svanasana. Ashtang Namaskar. Bhujangasana. Parvatasana. Left forward, Ashvasanchalanasana. Padahastasana. Hastuttanasana. Pranamasana. On the right side, prayer position, raised arms pose, hand to feet pose, right leg back, equestrian pose, mountain pose, hold mountain pose, and slowly moving into the deeper version of mountain, the downward facing dog. Salute with 8 limbs. Cobra. Press back to mountain. Right forward, equestrian pose. Hand to feet pose. Raised arms position. Prayer pose. One round of the sun salutation with awareness on the breathing. So exhaling our hands to the chest, pranam. Inhaling as we bend back. We exhale as we fold forward. Left leg back, inhale as we're arching back. Exhale into the forward. Hold the breath for knees, chest, chin. Inhale as we arch back. Exhale into the forward. Left leg forward, inhale. This is a back bend. Exhale whenever we bend forward. Inhale as we bend back. Exhale, hands to the chest. And on the right, deep breathing. Exhale. A deep inhale. A long exhale. Right leg back with an inhale. And exhale. Hold the breath. Inhale and exhale. Right leg forward with a deep inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale.
All right. Welcome back. Time for a creative visualization. So one thing I want all of us to learn and absorb in life is creative visualization. That's why every morning हम 1 घंटा 21 मिनट 21 सेकंड 1 मिनट 21 सेकंड visualize करते हैं एक particular dream के बारे में that it's come true, right? Now, of course, this book is going to bring a lot of other processes with us. ये clearing हम कई बार पढ़ चुके हैं creative visualization में. ये clearing क्या होता है जो हमारे mental blocks होते हैं. And मैंने ये भी कहा था कि one form of clearing is tapping, जो हमने मार्गरेट के साथ कही थी for entire over a month and a half, that we tap, we ask us a question, उसके जवाब आते हैं, उसको हम accept करते हैं, उसके बाद हम rewiring करते हैं अपनी. एक और form है clearing का, which is even simpler. Let's go with it. In learning to use creative visualization, you may get in touch with blocks in yourself that hold you back from attaining your highest good. A block is a place where energy is constricted, not moving, not flowing. Usually blocks are caused initially by repressing emotions of fear, sadness, guilt, self-criticism, and or resentment, anger, which causes a person to tighten up and close down spirituality mentally, emotionally, and physically. So ये blocks are very similar to जब सड़क पे जा रहे हैं हम, गाड़ी is going on a slow movement, एकदम से सामने एक बोल्डर आ गया. Now you can't move your car because ये बोल्डर आ गया. ऐसे ही लाइफ में बहुत बार ये बोल्डर्स आते हैं, ब्लॉकेजेस आती हैं, जिससे हम वी कांट सी स्ट्रेट, लगता है कि सब कुछ क्लाउडेड हो गया. नाउ हाउ डू यू डील विद द ब्लॉक ऑन एनी लेवल? किसी भी लेवल पे हो सकता है. कई बार स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी बहुत बढ़िया चल रही हो, एकदम से ब्लॉक आ गया, आप आगे एडवांस कर ही नहीं रहे हो, चांटिंग कर रही है नहीं कर रहे हो, या कुछ रिचुअल्स करने नहीं कर रहे, मेंटली आपको लगता है कि अरे मैं तो अभी फोकस्ड ही नहीं हूँ, तैयार ही नहीं हो, इमोशनली ऊपर नीचे हो रहे हो, फिजिकली पता है एक्सरसाइजिंग इज गुड बट फिर भी बैठे हो, स्टैटिक एनर्जी है. एंड दीज आर ऑल ब्लॉक्स वी आर हैविंग. Now we have to get our energy moving. We have to come. So we haven't finished the first page. Yeah. So we have to have our energy moving. We have to flow in that area. इसकी keys आती हैं. There are rastas, the ways. First, mental and emotional acceptance of what you have, what you're feeling on a physical level. This manifests as relaxation and release. So mentally, emotionally, you have to accept that, okay, I'm having a problem. Alona, can you please take up?
One second, I missed it. Block. Amazingly enough, right?
No. Number two, clear.
Clear observations. Clear observations which leads to an understanding of the root of the problem, which is often a limiting attitude or belief. So in dealing with an area of consciousness where we have a block, we need to first experience as fully as possible the emotion we have locked up in that area in a loving, accepting way. In doing so, we get the blocked up energy moving and we have a chance to observe the underlying negativity beliefs of attitudes which cause the problem to begin with. We can take a good, clear look at them and let them dissolve themselves. Amazingly enough, it seems to be the process of pinpointing the constructive belief and accepting the feelings you have around it, which works magic. The difficulty almost inevitably dissolves and disappears eventually once you have understood and accepted yourself. It's much simpler than you may think. The trick is to simultaneously love and accept yourself compassionately for having this belief, and at the same time, see clearly that you are ready to let go of it because it is limiting, destructive, self-defeating, and untrue.
Okay. So first thing is we have to always accept. Again, mentally, emotionally, we are going to accept कि okay, this is a problem I have. Firstly, जब कभी लगे कि मैं ये क्यों नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ या क्यों नहीं कर पा रही हूँ, ask yourself a question कि मुझे क्या रुकावट आ रही है, what is the problem, मैं क्यों नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, what am I feeling? Then wait for 5 minutes, like just close your eyes. Why do I say close your eyes? Because when your eyes are open, you're looking around, कमरे में ये वो, दिमाग 100 चीजें सोच रहा है. When you're closed, at least you're trying to go in, you're cutting yourself from the world and asking कि problem क्यों आ रही है. That is when जवाब आएंगे, और जवाब आएंगे तो हम उनको एक्सेप्ट कर पाएंगे. अगर फिजिकल लेवल पे हमने अपने मेंटल इमोशनल बैरियर्स को एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया, वो मैनिफेस्ट कर जाएंगे. इट्स वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि हमें उनको मैनिफेस्ट नहीं करने देना है, राइट? सो नेगेटिव मैनिफेस्टेशन होगा तो हु वांट्स दैट? सो इसलिए रिलैक्स करके समझना है. नंबर 2 हमने पढ़ा कि क्लियर ऑब्जर्वेशन. जब हम उसको क्लियरली ऑब्जर्व कर रहे हैं अपनी लाइफ में कि मेरी प्रॉब्लम क्या है, now that is when we will realize कि अरे मेरा limiting belief ये है, वो मेरा attitude ये है, इसलिए नहीं कर पा रहा. Most important thing is कि हमने बहुत बार emotions को या अपने आप को अंदर block किया होता है, और वो जब बाहर नहीं आते तो ये blocked up जो energy है कि हमें मूव ही नहीं करने देती, स्टैटिक बन जाती है, यू नो, जस्ट इज देयर, एनर्जी तो है बट इट बिकम्स देयर, एंड यू नो व्हाट विल हैपन, वी आर गोइंग टू मैनिफेस्ट दिस ईज, क्योंकि वो इजी तो है नहीं, वो एनर्जी वहां ब्लॉक हो गई। अब आपको जाने अनजाने में आपने बीमारी को न्योता दे दिया। तो इसलिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है समझना कि क्लियरिंग इंपॉर्टेंट है, समझना इंपॉर्टेंट है सबसे पहले। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मैं आज सिंपल चीज बोलती हूँ कि आपको कुछ से ऑफिस में एक डिसीजन लेना है, अब आप डिसीजन ले ही नहीं पा रहे हो, आपको पता लेना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है बट आप नहीं ले पा रहे हो। ट्रिक पहली क्या है कि एक्सेप्ट, अपने आप को फर्स्टली कंपैशन देना। छोटे बच्चे के साथ कंपेयर करो अपने आप को, अपने इनर चाइल्ड को ले आओ, जब अगर आपको अपनी तरफ टफ होना है। छोटे बच्चे को हम बोलते हैं ना, कोई बात नहीं, इस बार तुम फेल हो गए, अगली बार ट्राई कर लेना। सिमिलरली अपने आप को बोलना है, यू टू गिव योरसेल्फ लव, कंपैशन, एम्पैथी, अंडरस्टैंडिंग, और साथ साथ में एक्सेप्ट करना है कि इट्स ओके, इट्स ऑल राइट, इट्स फाइन, नहीं हुआ नहीं हुआ, आगे दुनिया है, बढ़ते चलो, डर के आगे भी जीत है। बिकॉज अगर हम अपने आप को बिलिटल करते रहेंगे, लिमिटिंग बात करते रहेंगे, डिस्ट्रक्टिव एटीट्यूड करते रहेंगे, सेल्फ डिफीटिंग बातें बोलते रहेंगे, वो ही मैनिफेस्ट होगा, बट वो सच नहीं है। कुछ कॉमन कोर बिलीव्स, some common core beliefs that are most prevalent and troublesome are I'm not okay, there's something wrong with me, I'm not worthy, I'm undeserving। ये बोलते हैं कि नहीं आप लोग अपने आप को, जब कभी प्रॉब्लम आती है कि अरे मैं तो बस का ही नहीं है, यू नो मेरी औकात के बाहर है, अरे आई एम नॉट राइट, आई एम नॉट रेडी फॉर इट, होगा ही नहीं। क्यों? क्योंकि हम अपने लिए बहुत टफ हो जाते हैं, या I've done bad things, or maybe some bad things in some other life, maybe I deserve to be punished, maybe that's why I can't do this. Now people including me are basically bad, selfish, cruel, stupid, sinful, foolish। ये शायद लाइन आप नहीं बोले, because everybody knows कि हम sinners नहीं हैं, everybody knows कि हम cruel नहीं हैं, everybody knows कि हम untrustworthy नहीं हैं, लेकिन हमके वर्ड लग सकता है कि हम नहीं है, या हम तो बड़े ट्रस्टफुल हैं, बट लुक पीपल आंट, इट्स अ अनसेफ प्लेस, या कम है, मनी भी कम है, लव भी कम है, अच्छी चीजें भी कम है, बहुत लिमिटेड मिलता है, सो वी कांट बी सो लकी, यू रियली हैव टू बी लकी टू गेट इट ऑल। बोलते हैं कि नहीं, कि बड़े लकी होना पड़ता है सारे सब कुछ मिलने के लिए, क्योंकि वी डोंट बिलीव दैट वी डिजर्व इट, तो लक पे डिपेंड करते हैं, या मुझे स्ट्रगल करना पड़ेगा अपना शेयर लेने के लिए, और इट्स होपलेस, आई नेवर गेट इनफ, or if I have a lot, someone else will have to do without it. So कि मुझे मिलेगा तो उसको नहीं मिलेगा, ऐसा होगा वैसा होगा, या life is painful, suffering, hard work, it's not meant to be fun or pleasurable, love is dangerous, I might get hurt, power is dangerous, I might hurt someone, money is the root of all evil, money corrupts, the world doesn't know and never will, in fact it's getting worse all the time, I don't have control over what happens to me, I'm powerless to do anything about my life for the state of the world। और कुछ नहीं भी तो लास्ट लाइन तो बहुत लोग बोलते हैं कि मुझे कंट्रोल ही नहीं है, क्या हो जाता है, यू नो मेरे साथ जो क्या जब मैं संभाल ही नहीं पाती, कहीं पावर ही नहीं मिलती, मैं क्या कर सकती हूँ अपनी लाइफ के बारे में, या मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ, अपने आप चलती रहती है। राहुल सर प्लीज टर्न द पेज। सो जैसे हमने ये सब सेंटेंसेस पढ़े, एज वी रेड थ्रू देम, these negative ideas, something came up and under deep lying हमारे अंदर assumptions होती हैं। assumptions क्यों होती हैं? क्योंकि belief system होता है। बिलीफ सिस्टम क्यों होता है? बिकॉज इमोशनली हम कई बार चैलेंज्ड होते हैं, बचपन में कुछ सुना है, वो इम्प्रिंट हो जाता है, वो हमारा बिलीफ बना देता है। तो एहसासों की दुनिया है, तो कुछ एहसास हुआ तो उसकी वजह से एक धारणा बन जाती है। And depressing through, they may seem that you read through them all at once. The fact is that every one of us bought into some of these negative viewpoints about reality, at least to some degree. And it's no wonder that we have incorporated these ideas into our sense of reality. And they're all extremely prevalent in our world at the time in our evolution. In fact, the world is currently being run according to these ideas. Although fortunately, this is rapidly changing. So good news क्या है? जो हम फील कर रहे हैं वो एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है, बिकॉज हमारे साथ ही नहीं 56 लोग के साथ, 1000 लोग के साथ हो रहा है। एंड वर्ल्ड इज ऑलवेज इवॉल्विंग। सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बात है टू रियलाइज दैट दे नॉट ओनली बिलीव्स, दे हैव नो ऑब्जेक्टिव ट्रूथ, कि हमने अपने लिए इसको बिलीफ बना लिया है, बट एक्चुअल में इसमें ट्रूथ तो कुछ है ही नहीं। Although they may be seen to be true at times when you look around us, is only because so many human beings believe them and act accordingly. अब जैसा मैं देख रहा हूँ मुझे दिखेगा ही ना, because that's I'm wearing tinted glasses. अगर tinted glasses है तो world clear दिखेगा ही नहीं ना मुझे. वो hues and shades दिखेंगे ही. The most powerful thing you can do, and is very powerful, to change the world is to change your own beliefs about the nature of life, people, and reality, and begin to act accordingly. This is the reason why मैजिक बुक के रिजल्ट्स बहुत जबरदस्त आते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि एकदम से आपको वर्ल्ड कैसे दिखना है वो बताता है कि आज ऐसे देखो, एंड आपने अपने आप को बदला एंड द वर्ल्ड चेंजेस अराउंड यू. हम सोचते हैं वर्ल्ड बदलेगा तो हम बदलेंगे, बट अगर हम बदलेंगे तो वर्ल्ड बदल ही जाएगा. Now this book will give us some tools. Alona, you can read the clearing exercises one by one, please. Thank you so much.
Clearing exercises. If you are having trouble realizing a goal or sense resistance in yourself to its achievement, try this exercise. 1. Take a piece of paper and write at the top, the reason I can't have what I want is, then immediately begin to write a list of any thoughts that come into your head to complete the sentence. Don't take too much time to write your answers and don't take it too seriously. Just quickly write down about 20 or 30 things that come to you, even if they seem silly or stupid. A sample list might start like this. The reason I can't have what I want is I'm too lazy. I don't have enough money. It doesn't exist. I've tried before and it never worked. Mother said I couldn't. I don't want to. It's too hard. I'm afraid to. John wouldn't like it. It's too much fun. And so on.
Okay. So आज क्या करना है? फर्स्ट चीज हमें एक पेपर ले लेना है. क्या क्या रीजंस लिखने हैं कि मैं कुछ क्यों नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ. जो भी समझ में आ रहा है वो रीजन लिखना है, चाहे वो बचपन का बिलीफ है, चाहे अभी का बिलीफ है, चाहे कुछ भी है. प्लीज बी ट्रूथफुल. कोई देख नहीं रहा है इस बुक को आपको, बट आपको इसकी वजह से सवाल और जवाब मिलने वाले हैं. नंबर 2.
Try the same exercise, only this time specifically name the thing that you want. For example, the reason I can't have a good job is, and proceed as before. Now just sit quietly for a few minutes with your list and see whether any of the thoughts you've written down ring true for you, whether in some way or degree you believe them. Just get a sense of what kind of limitations you put on yourself and your worth. Third, now write a list of all the most negative attitudes you can think of about yourself, other people, relationships, the world, life. Again, sit quietly with your list and get in touch with which of these ideas may consciously or unconsciously hold emotional power over you. If at any point during any of these exercises you feel any emotion coming up, just stay with that and allow yourself to experience it as much as possible with total acceptance. You may get a flash of an early experience or something your parents or teachers used to tell you which programmed you view of the world in certain way.
बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है एक्सरसाइज करना, बिकॉज एंड हर एक्सरसाइज के बाद, हर सवाल के बाद आंखें बंद करना, चाहे वो 2-3 मिनट के लिए बंद करें. उन 2-3 मिनट में मैजिक्स होते हैं. उन 2-3 मिनट में आपको आंसर्स मिलते हैं, और आपको चाहे आंसर्स पता हो चाहे नहीं पता हो, आपने इनको लिखा नहीं है इसलिए इनमें पावर नहीं है. जब आप खुद के ही माइंड में क्या चल रहा है उसको पेपर पे देखते हैं, पढ़ते हैं, लाइक ओ माय गॉड, इसकी वजह से मुझे प्रॉब्लम आ रही है. इज दैट द रीजन व्हाई आई एम हैविंग प्रॉब्लम? एंड दैट्स व्हेन यू टोटली चेंज. सो प्लीज गो एंड डू दिस इनवर्ड एक्सरसाइज. वेरी 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 इंपॉर्टेंट. Number 4.
Whenever you feel complete with this process, especially if you've gotten in touch with one or more negative beliefs that you hold, simply tear up your list and throw them away. This symbolizes that you are in the process of releasing them. Then sit quietly, relax, and do some affirmations to replace your constricted, limiting beliefs with more opening, constructive, positive ones. A few possible clearing affirmations. I now release my entire past. It is complete and I am free. I now dissolve all negative, limiting beliefs. They have no power over me. I now forgive and release everyone in my life. We are all happy and free. I don't have to try to please others. I'm naturally lovable and likable, no matter what I do. I now let go of all accumulated guilt, fears, resentment, disappointments, and grudges. I am free and clear. All of my negative self-images and attitudes are now dissolved. I love and appreciate myself. All barriers to my full expressions and enjoyment of life are now dissolved. The world is a beautiful place to be. The universe always provides. More clearing exercises. This exercise is about forgiveness and release. Write down on a piece of paper the names of everyone in your life who you feel has ever mistreated you, harmed you, and done you an injustice, or toward whom you feel or have felt resentment, hurt, or anger. Next to each person's name, write down what he or she did to you, or what you resent the person for. Then close your eyes, relax, and one by one, visualize or imagine each person. Hold a little conversation with each one.
Let's turn the page.
And explain to him or her that in the past you have felt anger or hurt toward him or her. But now you are going to do your best to forgive the person for everything and to dissolve and release all constricted energy between you. Give the person a blessing and say, I forgive you and release you. Go your own way and be happy. When you have finished this process, write on your paper, I now forgive you and release you all, and throw it away as a symbol that you are letting go of these past experiences.
So did you understand what to do? Is everyone clear what to do? Very, very important to do this. पहले analyze करना है, answers लिखने हैं, and उसके साथ affirmations बोलनी है. That is okay. जो भी affirmations आपको resonate कर रही है अपने साथ, या आपको कुछ और resonate किया, you have to forgive yourself. You know, there's a forgiveness prayer I'll probably share today with you. Very important to wake up in the morning and forgive yourself for whatever wrong you've done, because we judge ourselves so much that we're unable to go beyond it. It's very important to tell ourselves that, you know, I am happy and I can create happiness the way I want. And I release all the negativity. I release all the prejudices, the judgments, and I forgive myself and everything around me. But हम let go नहीं कर पाते. Problem is we become a bundle of problems. So yes, please continue.
Many people find that this process of forgiveness and release is miraculous in relieving them immediately of their long-standing burdens of accumulated resentment and hostility. The wonderful thing is that the other people involved, even if you never see them again, will on psychic level pick up your forgiveness, and it will help to clear up their lives as well. It may be that the first time you do this process, you will not have an experience of relief and release with certain people, especially a parent, spouse, or other very significant person in your life. If there is a strong emotional charge or a lot of deep feeling, it may be necessary to talk to a therapist or a counselor, or find a safe place to fully express your anger and hurt. We mustn't try to force ourselves to forgive before we've really accepted and expressed our other feelings. After we do, forgiveness often comes naturally. Continue to do this process from time to time, and eventually it will be resolved for you. Remember, it is for your own benefit, health, and happiness that you are doing this. Many people experience miraculous healing of physical problems after doing this process, as many physical ailments such as cancer and arthritis are directly related to accumulated anger and resentment. Number 2. Now write down everyone you can think of in your life who you feel you have hurt or done an injustice. Write down what you did to these people. Again, close your eyes, relax, and imagine each person in turn. Tell him or her what you did and ask the person to forgive you and give you his or her blessing. Then picture the person doing so. When you have finished the process, write at the bottom of the paper or across the whole thing, I forgive myself and absolve myself of all guilt here and now and forever. Then tear up the paper and throw it away.
If you realize हम full moon पे यही कर रहे हैं, हम अपनी list को burn कर रहे हैं so that we just let go and we surrender, right? यहाँ पर भी what we're doing is we're closing our eyes, we're relaxing every person in front of us कि क्या problem है, क्या अनबन है, क्या नहीं है, and we just forgive and we just get go. We just like surrender कि जो था वो था, मेरी तरफ से it's all becoming clear and help me with that. One final clearing process. Very important, ये भी करना, हमने कई बार इसके बारे में बात करी है, decluttering है. Go through your closets, drawers, basement, garage, desk, whenever you have accumulated stuff that you don't need, and throw it away or give it away as possible. Remember, all of us are hoarders. All of us are hoarding a lot of things which you don't realize. अभी vigorous concrete action जो है physical level पे अगर हम ले रहे हैं, it is symbolic of what we are doing emotionally, mentally, psychic level पे. We're clearing out all old useless stuff, getting the energy flow moving and getting your house in order. If people do this periodically, body में weight नहीं रहेगा, मन में clutter नहीं रहेगा, because the uncluttered your space is the most important it is. I know लगता है एक साथ कि इतना सारा अच्छा सामान है फेंकने में क्या है मतलब है, give it to someone with charity, but don't keep your surroundings so cluttered. It'll make you feel great, especially if you do affirmations while you're doing it. Such, the more I outflow, the more space I create for good things to come to me. I love giving and I love receiving. As I clean up and clear out my physical space, I'm cleaning up and clearing out my life in every way. I'm now putting my life in order, preparing to accept all the good that is coming to me now. I give thanks for all the good that I have and all the good things to come. Very, very important. Rahul, so thank you for this book, Time to Move to Art of Creative Thinking. Very important जो हमने आज clearing करा है. Please, clear नहीं करेंगे अपने mind को, अपने विचारों को, अपने thoughts को, हम आगे journey पे नहीं बढ़ सकते. So इसको everyday level पे करिए, because now you're coming to this beautiful last few सवा महीना बचा है in working on ourselves. So very important to make maximum use of it and start doing this every single day. So that क्या हम पढ़ रहे हैं, क्या आ रहा है, we are learning a lot about it. Now, life में बहुत कुछ आएगा which will not be great. Let's take advantage of a disadvantage. What a blessing in disguise. So let's understand the science. The extraordinary achievements of Chuck Close, the great photorealist artist, are a fascinating example of turning a disadvantage into an advantage. His huge painstakingly accurate portrait paintings hang in every major museum in the world. The monumental scale is breathtaking. Standing before them is like standing in front of a mountain. The minute details astound and amaze, yet they pull together to make a towering portrait. Close spent insane amounts of time on the microscopic details in his images. Catastrophe struck Close at the height of his fame. A blood clot in the spine left him paralyzed from the neck down. Close had been known for detailed brushwork, and now suddenly he couldn't even hold a brush. As Jackson Pollock said, painting is no problem. The problem is what to do when you're not painting. After intensive rehabilitation, Close felt slight movement, regained it in his left arm. He learned to paint again with a paintbrush strapped to his wrist with tape. Eventually, he could manipulate a brush well enough to create a tiny abstract shape. He went on to create an entirely new kind of portrait. Small abstract squares that viewed up close are separate from swirling marks, but which seemed from distance like coalesced like pixels into a single mosaic-like unified image. The colors were stronger and brighter. These paintings were even more popular and cemented Close's place in art history. The way Close reacted to the ravages of health had miraculously transformed into one of the greatest colorists. Close did not let the handicap stop him doing what he felt he had been born to do. He turned the disadvantage of his disability into a cause of innovation. Perhaps his tough early life had trained him to turn disadvantage to his favor. His father died when he was 11, and soon after his mother became ill, and the medical bill cost him their house. Close had dyslexia and suffered at school, where he was considered dumb and lazy. He was told he would never go to college, and yet he went to Yale. He overcame every obstacle. In 1980, the great jazz guitarist Pat Martino suffered a severe brain aneurysm and underwent an operation. The surgery made him suffer complete amnesia. Martino couldn't remember his family, his friends, how to play the guitar, his career, or even who he was. He felt he'd been dropped cold, empty, neutral, cleansed, naked. For months, he exhaustively studied his old recordings and in time managed to reverse his memory loss and return to form on the guitar. His past recordings were an old friend, a spiritual experience which remained beautiful and honest. In the early 1990s, he resumed his performing. The experience added a new dimension to his playing. Many regard Django Reinhardt as one of the greatest guitarist players of all time because he invented an entirely new style of jazz called hot jazz guitar. He had to. The fingers on his left hand were burned in a fire and paralyzed. Reinhardt could only use the index and middle fingers. In overcoming this problem, he created a music tradition, and his most popular compositions have become jazz standards. These creative thinkers not only overcame this advantage, but they actually used them to add a new dimension to their work. Now we all must try this. Imagine somebody whose painting no hands don't work. And then one hand starts working. Somebody who's so successful doesn't have memory. Somebody who's so amazing can't because his fingers are burnt. Yet all of them, what did they do? They created the setback as opportunity to begin again and with more wisdom and no reaction but respond. We too can overcome seemingly insurmountable misfortunes. I must do something always resolves more problems and something must be done. Horace says adversity has effect of eliciting talents, which in prosperous circumstances would have laid dormant. So very important for us to understand. Rahul sir, thank you for this. So what happens? जब life में adversities आते हैं, challenges आते हैं, problems आते हैं, that is when we should be like, all up, all out. Let's do it. Let's build our life the way it's meant to be. Let's shine out of our problems and then come into a world of absolute being blissful and being blessed. Because until we realize that, all of us are creators and we have so much to be thankful for, we can't make it really beautiful. So now for everyone, whoever wishes to read, please raise your hand. Thank you, Lona, for being my voice when I lost mine. So it's all about loving world. I help create a world where it is safe to love each other. Every time you meditate, every time you do a visualization for healing, every time you say something for healing the whole planet, you are connecting with people who are doing the same thing. You are connecting with like-minded people all over the planet. Have we done this? I'm sorry, I forget. Okay, Rahul, so the next one, let's be careful of what we are doing because I forget. I read so many of them every day and write so many of them that I forget which one we're doing. Okay. So again, in fact, this was the one that was supposed to come. We just talked about blessings aati hain, when mistakes come, adversities come, when ill will happens. So here we are, mistakes. I rise above all limitations. If you believe you did something wrong, then you are going to find a way to punish yourself. I rise above all limitations. Each experience is a stepping stone in life, including any so-called mistakes. In fact, मैंने कई बार बताया है, what is mistake? When you miss a take on life, take in something, when you miss that, it becomes a mistake. So loving yourself for all your mistakes, they have been very valuable to you. They have taught you many things. It is the way you learn. Be willing to stop punishing yourself for your mistakes. Love yourself for your willingness to learn and to grow. So thank you everyone for being here. Now we'll meditate, and Kamakshi, would you be interested in recording? Because today we don't have either Shivani or Akshay. So Alona will record. So Rahul sir, please make Alona the co-host. You are the co-host. Alona, thank you for volunteering to always be there for all of us. So let's take a deep breath in. Check your postures first. Become comfortable. Take a deep breath in and out. In and out. In, out. Each one of us is whole, healed, and complete. Life is a blessing. Life is a miracle. Life gives us opportunity to learn, to read, to grow, to implement, and make life very beautiful. Today, we are doing a beautiful pink bubble technique. This exercise and this meditation is very, very simple, and it's very, very, very effective. As we've all relaxed, centered, balanced, aligned ourselves with our breathing, let's now channelize the energy into imagining something that you would like to manifest. What is it that you want to manifest? Something that you do every morning in Power of States programming, or something new? Think of it. Now imagine it's already happened. Picture it as clearly as possible in your mind. Add as many details. Now, in your mind's eyes, surround your fantasy with a pink bubble. The bubble can be as big as you want. If your fantasy is huge, the bubble can be huger. Put your goal inside this bubble. Pink is the color associated with the heart. And if this color vibration surrounds whatever you visualize it, it will bring to you only what is perfect in affinity with your being. Now let go of the bubble. Imagine it floating off from your hand into the sky, just the way you leave a gas balloon up in the air. Just leave the pink balloon. Let it go. Now see it floating higher, higher, a little more higher, floating off into the universe, still containing your vision. This symbolizes that you're emotionally letting go of it. Now it is free to float around in the universe, attracting and gathering energy for its manifestation. Wish it well. Know it, believe it, that your manifestation, you have now let it go. The right elements, the right synchronicities will happen in your life on this earthly plane simply because you have manifested and yet let it go. Our life is an opportunity. There are so many mistakes that we make. We learn by trial and method. We try, we fail. We try, we fail. And then we try again. And sometimes we succeed, sometimes we don't. It's all right to be passionate about what we love to do, and yet have empathy for ourselves, compassion for ourselves, understanding for ourselves, and most importantly, love. It's all right. Everything is all right. There is no reason for us to judge ourselves. We don't need judgment from anyone, and least of all from ourselves. Because what we say matters. Because we are truthful to our word. And sometimes we say such hard words, harsh words for ourselves that we cannot undo them. So let's show unparalleled love, unconditional compassion for ourselves. Let's know that many a times things don't go the way we want, but something better for our highest good has to unfold. So let's count our blessings even in a disguise. When something goes wrong, let's try to understand what is the learning for us. What have we learned out of it? Let's always remember to think on paper, write on paper. Because that way you'll be giving that also formation. And if by chance we write a page or a half of negativity, it's good to read that, understand, and let go of that in the clearing process. And then tear off the paper and surrender. Let's remember that it's very important to have these minutes, 5 minutes or 3 minutes of solitude with the eyes closed, to go inward, to ask ourselves a question which is pinching us, which is troubling us. Let's all remember that all the solutions are inwards. All we have to do is tune in. Tune in, go inward, and seek all the answers. Because our higher self knows the answers to our problem that nobody else does. No counselor, no therapist, no doctor, no teacher will tell us what we ourselves know. When I am the soul, then this body and this mind, whatever problems, roadblocks it has, can all be sorted with the higher self's guidance. So let's tell ourselves very effectively, very beautifully, that the highest good is always unfolding for me. And the divine is always guiding me. The divine love is surrounding me. Whatever action I take is divinely guided. That I am love. I am light. And I choose to shine bright, right now, right here. Because I am willing to change. I'm willing to accept that all the mistakes I've made are just not to be judged. It's okay to make mistakes. I'm no longer running after perfectionism because I believe that in itself is a myth. And whatever I follow is because of my heartful guidance. I'm blessed. I'm grateful for all that life shows me. I'm blessed to be blessed. And so it is. Let's bow our heads in gratitude to Mother Earth. Let's look at our eye level with eyes closed and thank our life lessons, our life experiences in this life or the prior ones to enrich us, enliven us, empower us, encourage us in the endeavor of making this life so much more beautiful. Let's look up at the heaven. If you wish, your arms can be open. Let's thank our universe for having our back. Let's thank the cosmic energies to flow through us, guiding us, directing us, mentoring us. Let's thank the angels and guardians for always ensuring that we are safe, sound, protected. Let's thank the divinities for showering their blessings on us. Let's thank all the cosmic energy, all the teachers who come in the form of gurus, authors, teachers, friends, family, for always teaching us something, for all the life lessons. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, you can fold your hands together. Be thankful for everything from heavens to earth. Rub your hands together, feel the energy flow. Bless your face. May we see better, hear better, say better, feel better, smell better. Our neck for holding us all in strong. Our shoulders for always shouldering responsibility. Our arms for always doing the right actions. Our lungs for always breathing and making us so much more fresher. Our heart for always growing in love. Our gut area for always digesting the good. For releasing all the unnecessary, all the toxins, all the unnecessary things that we need, and releasing emotions as well. Our legs for giving us strength. Our souls for giving us grounded energy, going into Mother Earth. Our back of our legs, our backbone, our hips, excretory organs, sexual organs. Our backbone for keeping our back straight, aligned, balanced, and for giving power to our energy chakras and us. Once again, let's fold our hands. Let's bless our internal beautiful body organs for working on the optimal best. To external body for looking how it does. To a mind for all the beautiful new knowledge and games that we play. To a subconscious mind for helping us understand of our programming. To all the authors, especially Shakti Gavan today for teaching us the clearing process. May we all do the clearing process and be cleared of all negative programming and beliefs. May we all evolve to the next level, being blessed, being nurtured with our own love and light. Let's all be blessed with love, light, abundance, and healing blessings for all of us. Pratima ji, Ruchi, Manisha, Meenakshi, Alona, Yanji, Usha ji, Vijay ji, Manish, Anita, Shami, Ankur, Ritu, Kamakshi, Jitendra ji, Surendra ji, Arvind ji, Neha, Richa, Nikita, Niriksha, Peena ji, Rahul sir, Amrita ma'am, and to all our virtual participants and all sentients being in the Mother Earth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Any questions? And thank you, Lona, for recording the meditation and sharing it with the Sangha. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. So I see there are no questions, and that's fine. Let's see each other tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Thank you, Anita, for always your gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just a quick letting you know that I'm beginning the evening sessions again. They will be in Hindi And because we've had a break of 3 months, we last had on 15th of August, I'd like to be guided to start Magic Book again. So for all of you, your friends and your family who can't wake up in the morning at 5, and if they're comfortable with Hindi, let them come in the evenings at 5 every evening for this entire December month, December 1st to 31st. We'll be doing the Magic Book again because I think all of us need magics, especially when the new year is around the corner. Let's begin January 1st with fresh, new, magical us. So more power to us. And those of you who have time can also join the evenings. So lots of love and light. Amrita will share today's flyer, the flyer today with all of you on your broadcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you all.